This is major. It's like the next big thing. Come catch the wave, yeah. Yeah, watch what's happening. A force of nature. Hit 'em like lightning. Be the creator of the next big thing. We're the movers and shakers. We are the dreamers, the makers. We stand on top of equators. We are the limitless. We got the future, no papers. We are the innovators. We have the focus like lasers. You know we doing it big. Oh, this is major. Yeah, here we come. Are you a game changer? Rule breaker, dream maker. Show 'em how it's done.
This is major.
Please welcome Jeff Clark.
Crazy Train. I know the team doesn't know what I'm about to say, but they have no idea that brings back such fond memories. This song hit the United States in February of 1981. About ready to date myself. I graduated high school a few months later. On August the 12th of that year, right before I entered engineering school, something very important happened that's changed my life forever. IBM launched the PC. And I've had the privilege of spending most of my career at Dell, nearly 40 years now, with a front row seat, wave after wave of innovation, from PCs to servers to storage, the internet, mobile, and here I am today in front of all of you, getting to talk about artificial intelligence and agentic workforces. What an incredible ride. Welcome to day 2 of Dell Technologies World. Michael set the stage yesterday, and as usual, set the bar high, so I have a bit of work to do. He talked about what the modern enterprise looks like. Today, we're going to talk about how to build one. Last year, you might remember, I said token use was likely undercalled. And I ended my keynote by saying we were on the forefront of the agentic era. Well, it turns out I was a bit too conservative, which seldom happens, but I was. AI crossed a real inflection point. The models, the software, the hardware, all improved faster and more capable than anyone predicted. What was thought to be a 3-year journey happened in less than 12 months. Happened in less than 12 months. Utterly amazing. And y'all know I love a good top 10 list. I like to start these conversations with them. The team has continued to try to break me of this habit. Yet again, they did not succeed. I have 10 things that I want to talk about that changed our world since the last time we were together, and they're profound. The first one, number 1, AI went from an advisor, Michael talked about that yesterday, to an operator. AI executes the answer, manages the exceptions, and escalates what it can't resolve. Number 2, model prices have dropped roughly 40%, excuse me, 80%. But token consumption is up 10x, surpassed 100 trillion tokens in a year in 2025. Equally important, the context windows cross millions of tokens. You can now enter an entire code base, a year of contracts, a full operations history, all done in a single pass. Number 5, training built the models, inference runs the business. Inference workloads account for nearly two-thirds of all AI compute this year. The compute curve bent, and quite honestly, it's never going back. Number 6, generative AI software in enterprises, the spend tripled in 2025 to $37 billion. Companies that are spending aren't experimenting anymore, they are building. One of my favorites, physical AI left the lab. Robotics, autonomous systems, embodied agents are now showing up in factories, warehouses, hospitals, and farms. One of my personal favorites, the PC is part of the AI stack. Power at the desk side matters because workloads like software development, media workflows have all moved to the endpoint. And quite frankly, the talent conversation has flipped. It's no longer where do I find AI engineers, it's how do I get everyone to think and work like an AI engineer. And then lastly, the conversation changed. Every CIO I meet has stopped asking me, should we? And has started asking, how fast can we? 10 things, 12 months, any one of them in any other era would have been the headline of the year. This time, they're the context of what comes next. Think about that. So what I wanted to do now is share with what I'm seeing inside Dell, inside our customers, inside the 1,000 environments that we're helping customers implement today, 3 patterns, 3 distinct patterns that I think needs to sit with each and every one of you as you leave this morning. The first observation, kind of buried in the top 10. Token costs are falling fast. Token use is exploding. Token costs are down roughly 80% year over year. Token use alone for reasoning is up 320 times. Think about that. Model cost, token cost down 80%, explosion of use 320 times. So much that you see the unit prices collapsing, leading to this volume that's exploding. And if this pattern sounds familiar, it should. We've seen this before in bandwidth, storage, compute for decades now. Cheaper units unlock so much new usage that the total spend goes up, not down. And we've never seen it move this fast at this rate. And we see it here at Dell. We've had groups of engineers who have consumed a month's worth of allocated tokens. Yes, we were allocating them in the past. I'll get to that in a bit. And they consumed it all within a few hours. And not because anything was broken, because it's working. This is what success looks like with agents, and you better be ready for it, because it's coming. Observation number 2. AI productivity is extremely nonlinear. Inside almost every company deploying AI today, 5% of the people are driving 95% of the value. 5%, 95% of the value. Why? Because when someone learns how to use agents effectively, they use them for everything. Research, coding, modeling, strategy, analysis. Their day looks completely different from the individual right next to them. We call them super users of intelligence. A small slice of the workforce driving most of the gains, compounding their advantage week after week. So if you're measuring AI ROI, mouthful, by averaging across your entire organization, quite frankly, you're doing it wrong. That's like measuring system performance by averaging the idle cores. The right questions are, who are my super users? What are they doing? And how do I get everyone to become one of them? Observation number 3, if it already hasn't, tokens are about to be a line item in your P&L. Agents are doing in minutes and hours what took multiple sprint teams of multiple people days and weeks. Writing code, testing code, deploying it, planning the next iteration. That's not a 30% productivity gain, that's a 10x gain, that's a 100x gain, and oftentimes even greater than that. That's structurally a different company. As the agents take on more of this cognitive work, cost migrates from headcount to tokens. I'm going to say that again, it's very, very important. As agents take on more of the cognitive work, cost migrates from headcount to tokens. Tokens are going to be much greater than a rounding error in the future. And the companies who are planning for this shift now are going to have a big advantage over everyone that waits. If I take those 3 observations together, infrastructure demand is exploding as model prices collapse. The gains are concentrated in a handful of super users who are pulling away from everybody else week after week. And the cost structure of cognitive work is inverting in front of us. cognitive work, the cost is inverting in front of us. Every enterprise in the world was built on one assumption: cognitive work scales with human hours. You want more analysis? Hire more analysts. More code? More developers. Agentic AI has broken that ratio forever. And here's the part that nobody wants to talk about out loud. Most of our operating models that are built for the world that we lived in yesterday are now broken. You can feel it. Your teams can feel it. Nobody has completely figured this out yet. I know we certainly haven't. But what's clear to us is the companies that win in the next decade will be AI native. What does AI native mean? I want to be very clear with this. You don't have to be born in the AI era to be an AI native company. It's not a birthright, it's an operating model. It's built on the premise that intelligence is a utility, that it flows through every workflow, every decision, every product, every interaction. In my home state of Texas, we often hear the transplants say, too darn many of them, but the transplants do say, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as quick as I could. That's my challenge to you. Just because you didn't start with AI doesn't mean you can't get there. And the question you're going to have to ask yourself, are you really ready and willing to disrupt what you've built? Are you ready to tear down to the ground the old ways and rebuild in a new way? Or as I like to say, break some shit and start over. That is ultimately what we're talking about. Things have to fundamentally change. This takes me to the next part. So as we think about those observations and the impact they're having, it's going to have a profound impact on how we build an AI native enterprise. So I have 5 imperatives, things that you need to do right now, and you got to get it right or you're not going to be prepared for what's coming. The first thing, Arthur will expand on this in a bit later. Build an AI-ready data foundation. Michael said this yesterday. AI runs on data. However, in most enterprises, the data is scattered across dozens of systems. 80 to 90% of it is unstructured. None of it's connected in a way that an agent can use effectively. To power agents at scale, you need a real-time connected knowledge layer. And here's the structural and architectural decision you're going to have to make as a result. Don't move the data to the AI, move AI to the data. That's fundamentally a different approach, and quite frankly, a decision that you need to make now. Number 2, build a distributed AI infrastructure. Training and inference are very different workloads with very different physics. You heard Jensen and Michael speak briefly about this yesterday. Training needs massive GPU clusters, centralized by necessity. If I think about inference, where the growth is, you have reasoning models executing multi-step change. You have agents calling models over and over, planning, evaluating, iterating. These workloads are 10 to 100 times more compute intensive. Jensen said yesterday 1,000 times. 10, 100, 1,000 times more compute intensive than what you were running 18 months ago. An AI native enterprise has to be built for both. Number 3, secure autonomous systems. Here's the thing about agents. They just don't call the model. They call your CRM, they call your ERP, they call your financial systems, they call your customer databases. Every one of those touch points has to be secured, logged, and must be reversible. Because when an agent takes action on your behalf, changes a price, updates a customer record, initiates a procurement workflow, you need to know what it did, why it did it, and how to undo it if it got it wrong. In an AI workforce, every action needs a receipt. And that's not a compliance checkbox. That's how you build trust into the system that will act on its own. Imperative number 4, integrate the enterprise stack. The agent becomes the coordinator. The stack has to let it. Agents need to plan tasks, call tools, execute work, handle exceptions across your entire stack. That means an API-first architecture, workflow orchestration, and agent frameworks that can do multi-step execution. If your stack can't do that, your agents are going to be siloed and expensive. And that's simply not a conversation you want to have with your board. The last imperative, restructure for agentic AI and tokenomics. The question isn't whether consumption grows, is it absolutely will. The question is, are you running the right tokens on the right infrastructure? A routine summary doesn't need a frontier model. A sensitive financial analysis shouldn't leave your building. And a complex reasoning chain might need the most capable model wherever it lives. You need to think right workload, right model on the right tier, tier being edge, data center, cloud. And if you do that correctly, you're going to get the optimum performance, privacy, and cost efficiency. Run everything in one place because it's easy. Be ready for a surprise, and that surprise is a large bill that's only going to get larger. And Michael said this yesterday, it's fundamentally something we believe. The notion of token routing, where to put that token, is going to be one of the most important infrastructure decisions you will make. 5 imperatives, 1 direction. The AI native enterprise isn't a vision anymore, it's a blueprint. And the reason I'm confident you can build it today is because the ecosystem is here to support you. So now let me show you what that looks like with one of our most important partners.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Today, businesses across industries are adopting AI at an unprecedented pace, transforming their organizations from the ground up. At the same time, customers want the most powerful models, like Gemini, in their own data centers or in edge premises. To support customers in their AI journey, we've partnered with Dell in 3 important areas. First, we're deepening our work with Dell PowerEdge servers. Today, we've co-engineered an exact hardware configuration using NVIDIA's confidential computing on Blackwell GPUs to deliver Gemini on Google Distributed Cloud. Gemini now runs in customers' locations in a fully protected environment, so your prompts and your data stay encrypted, remain invisible, even to the infrastructure operators. Second, we're unlocking AI for our customers who need complete isolation for their data in order to adhere to the strictest regulatory and sovereignty requirements. We achieve this by deploying Gemini on Google Distributed Cloud within an air-gapped architecture exclusively with Dell. This allows your operations to be entirely disconnected from the internet, offering unparalleled security. Third, Google and Dell have partnered to provide a seamless, world-class support experience. You buy hardware from Dell, software from Google Cloud, but we take joint responsibility for your operational success. We're also excited that Dell will be an early adopter for the joint technology solution of Gemini on Google Distributed Cloud. Together, we're making AI accessible on premises for businesses and governments of all shapes and sizes, with security at the very core. We look forward to continuing our partnership with Dell and supporting all of you in your AI journeys. Thank you.
Gemini, on-premises, air-gapped if you need it, Dell's Customer Zero, available today. Pretty exciting. So I've been talking this morning about the AI native enterprise and what it has to look like. Those 5 imperatives: the data foundation, the distributed infrastructure, the security, the stack integration, and the tokenomics. And Thomas just shared what happens when that comes together with a world-class partner. Extraordinary, and more to come. Now we're going to shift the conversation a bit, because building the modern enterprise isn't just an infrastructure story. It's an agent story too. And I want to bring someone up here who's been living this from a completely different vantage point. Our next guest is the co-founder of Offline Ventures, co-founder and board member of OpenClaw Foundation, one of the most important open source projects in enterprise AI right now, built on the simple principle: the enterprise should own its AI, not rent it. Everyone, please welcome Dave Morin. Dave, how you doing?
Great, good to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. So we spent some time backstage this morning talking about what you're doing. It's pretty exciting. You've had a front row seat on some of the changes in mobile, social in your career. You had this epiphany with OpenClaw.
Yeah.
Tell us about that aha moment and why you realized it was going to change everything.
When I was 7 years old, my grandfather put a personal computer on my desk. And the first feeling that I had with it was I could create anything, that it was mine, and I could hack it, I could turn it into whatever I wanted. And throughout the rest of my career, I've been chasing that feeling. I went to college and I took a Dell computer with me and I built my first business in my dorm room using that Dell computer. After that, I went on to work at Apple and Facebook, and at each of those places, we were trying to give the power of computers to people so they could create new experiences for themselves. Over the holidays, I was at home visiting family, and a friend of mine pinged me and said, Dave, you got to check out this OpenClaw thing. And I said, oh, it's the family time, it's the holidays, I don't have time to check this out. I decided to install it, and within 24 hours, I had that feeling again. I felt like this is the first AI experience that I've had since ChatGPT launched, or maybe even since the iPhone, that I felt like I had a computer of the future in front of me on my desk. And OpenClaw was the first time that I felt that way. And ever since then, I called up the founder, Peter Steinberger, and we started working together every day to bring that feeling to everybody in the world.
That's pretty cool. I've been using OpenClaw in my dashboard at work. It's made things much easier. The team is a little surprised I'm using that. But if you think about the capability of an agent and its applicability to enterprises, we were talking backstage that you've done some research on the use cases of OpenClaw in the enterprise. How do the two merge from what may have started as a personal assistant now into an enterprise class capability?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you put an agent into the enterprise, the first thing that comes to mind is security and observability. You need to understand, what does this agent know? We all know that when an AI wakes up, it doesn't know anything about you. And so you have to fill it with context. You have to give it access to critical data to help people do better, work better in their workflows. In order to do that, you have to know what it has access to, and you have to also know what it's doing. And so what we've learned in building OpenClaw over the last several months is figuring that out, giving the agent read-only access at the start, and then also building observability layers in order to understand every single action and every single thing that the agent does, helps you figure out where it can go inside of your enterprise and how it can help people either in the cloud or on the edge.
We talked backstage a little bit about one of the biggest challenges is connecting data.
Yeah.
Share your experiences maybe with our audience today of how connecting the data and the challenge with that, but also the benefit once you get it right, the efficiency and productivity you get.
Yeah, we've seen two different things. You know, we have people building massive multi-agent architectures in the cloud, trying to figure out how do I build adapters for each different type of data. It can be a really intense task, and people are going about it a lot of different ways. One of the cool things we're doing at OpenClaw in our own workflows is we actually build crawlers that go and grab data from the cloud and pull it onto the edge device and store it in SQLite or other lightweight database and simple data structures so that the agent can rip through it really quickly and answer questions locally on device and make it really fast, really easy to use. And you can also know that it's happening on that device, the data, the workflow, right there, right next to the person. You know it's secure. And so we're doing this internally. It's how all of us at the central core of OpenClaw, the maintainers, our key engineers, we use workflows like this every single day.
Pretty cool. Maybe we should wander over to the devices.
Yeah, I saw this thing over here.
We sent a GB10 to you. We're going to get to this one. I know what you
want to stay next to that one.
How about here? We sent you one of these, our GB10 device. Tell us your experience with it, particularly as we think about moving more of the capability to the edge.
Yeah, I mean, these things are amazing. 128 gigs of RAM. You've got a Blackwell in there. You know, I've got one set up with OpenClaw on it. It'll run any OpenClaw workflow. You can use 30 billion parameter models. run data right on the device. You can also set it up as a satellite of your core CLAW. So I have a really advanced CLAW that I've been working on for 3 months. It runs all of my key workflows. It has access to all of the foundation models, but it now also has access to my GB10. And so when I want to run a really sensitive workload, something that's important, secure, I don't want it leaving my own machines, I use this as the local inference layer and have my main CLAW talk directly to this and run load.
But from our conversation, maybe you want a little more? And
Yeah,
why would you want more
I
capability?
used to think that I wanted a bigger monitor, but now I know I want a bigger computer.
And why?
Well, what's interesting is that this thing puts you about 1 year in the future. This thing would put you 5 years in the future as an individual, and this thing you could run an entire company on. Depends on the size, of course, but a 3800 under your desk can run a 1 trillion parameter model. You're talking, frontier level performance under your desk, and the ability to run it 24/7, multi-agent workflows, absolute frontier engineering. I mean, I want to put one of these underneath every single one of our core engineers' desks so that we can be running in the future today.
Available on www.dell.com. Maybe a last parting question. If you think about a thought to leave the audience today, what would it be? And maybe tie it to our conversation about the notion of needing more capability at the edge and the role the edge plays in the future with agents and AI.
Yeah, I mean, I think give people the tools to try this. If it needs to be at the edge, do it. Start here, start here. Models need context in order to provide the best, most powerful possible answer, workflow. We're seeing that people are coordinating their work in vastly more efficient ways. Put an agent into your workflows, give it read-only access to the data to start, and just get it in the game. See if it can, organize a simple workflow, help people do things faster, more locally, and just get started. Don't be afraid.
Get started, don't be afraid. Everybody, Dave Morin, thanks for joining us today. My pleasure, thank you. So Dave just confirmed something I've been saying all morning. The enterprise has to own its AI, not rent it. But it raises a very, very practical question. Where do I run this stuff? Yesterday, Michael announced the Dell desk-side agentic AI. The principle of it is very straightforward. The most efficient AI token is the one produced closest to the data. And most of your data is not in the cloud. It's on-prem, it's at the edge. That's where the AI needs to run. For every developer and IT leader in this room, that means a secure sandbox where your teams can build, test, and fine-tune agents locally. No unpredictable cloud cost, no bandwidth issues, no bandwidth penalties, no IP leaving the building, and I'd like to show you what that looks like.
Cloud agents burn tokens at every step. A single developer can burn $3,400 in cloud cost in a single day. There is a better way. The key to lower cost and better efficiency: the right workload on the right tier with the right model. The mission: build an enterprise research agent that delivers autonomous insights to every user without exposing sensitive data or blowing your cloud budget. It starts with the developer building locally on a GB10 powered by NVIDIA NemoClaw. The agent makes a plan with the developer, executes tests, and iterates. Your IP never leaves the machine. Agents are powered by Nemotron models running OpenClaw securely, with full governance and control in NVIDIA's OpenShell sandbox. We next task a team of specialized agents to refine our new research agent. They run autonomously, iterating and refactoring to optimize performance and cost in a 24-hour pre-production cycle. Leaner models, fewer tokens. Watch the line. Local accuracy matches and eventually exceeds cloud. This is where cost can really spiral, especially when autonomous AI agents coordinate with each other, running recursive loops that compound token usage fast. The result? One developer with a team of 10 agents burned through 1 billion tokens in a 24-hour period. In the cloud, that would be a $3,400 bill. On a local workstation, it's a free token generator at your fingertips. Welcome to the new model for powering engineering teams, unmetered, around-the-clock AI at the desk.
It's pretty cool. That's right, that 45-year-old device, the PC, a free, unmetered token generator. That's the future. One developer, 10 agents, 1 billion tokens in 24 hours. In the cloud, $3,400. On a workstation, $0. That's not a demo. That's a deployment model we're helping customers build right now. We kind of stole the thunder a little bit earlier with Dave, but I want to show 3 products that actually build upon one another to do exactly what we just described. The GB10, 1 petaflop of performance. It's optimal for models in the 30 to 200 billion range. It generates 40 tokens a second. This is where most teams should begin. If I go to our Dell Pro Precision Towers, this is a T4, 7 petaflops of performance. Scales to a 500 billion parameter model, generates 400 tokens a second. This is where serious developers should start or move next. And then the big boy, my personal favorite, the GB300, 20 petabytes of performance. Jensen said this yesterday, up to a trillion parameter model, generates 700 tokens a second. This Grace Blackwell Ultra Superchip draws over 1,500 watts of power. You can't cool that by air, so we engineered a closed-loop liquid cooling system that doesn't exist anywhere else. This one makes me smile. This is special. The big boy is fascinating. That's our new portfolio of Dell Pro and Dell Pro Precision shipping available today. And as I mentioned today, www.dell.com, you can get the GB300, and we've already shipped the first last week. So I've been talking about what it takes to build the AI native enterprise. The desktop is where your developers start, but to scale it from the desk to the data center to the cloud, you need infrastructure underneath it. That's Arthur's world. I'm going to let him tell you what he's built, because quite frankly, some of the stuff they've done has even surprised me. Everybody, Arthur Lewis.
Thanks, boss.
Ask him about his socks.
Don't ask me about the socks. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be back here at Dell Technologies World. Jeff just laid out a clear and compelling demand signal and 5 very important imperatives. There is little question that the agentic workforce is emerging and that the token explosion is real. And we have a lot to cover today, and I want to jump into something that I think is incredibly important, which is building a data foundation. And let's start with a very important fact. The vast majority of enterprise data resides on-prem. This data is your strategic advantage, yet no frontier model has seen it. It is sitting cold, it is sitting dark, invisible to AI, generating little to no value. And leveraging ever-evolving techniques like active learning, fine-tuning, reinforcement learning across the entirety of your data is not a nice-to-have in the world of agentic. It is an absolute must-have. Not only will it optimize the results, it will drive significant token efficiency. For example, a task that's run against a frontier model that consumes 4,000 tokens in chain of thought and 3 tool calls can be done on a fine-tuned model with 400 tokens and a single tool call. And of course, this calculus multiplies daily across millions of inference. So, how do you build this muscle? How do you build this engine? And how do you do so at scale? The answer is simple. The Dell AI Data Platform. This is an engine that is fueled with your data, shaped by your intelligence, and tuned to your outcomes. And it comes in 3 simple layers. Layer number 1, data preparation. In order for your data to be AI ready, it must be discovered, cleansed, and labeled, and transformed into something that the AI can actually interact with. And this is exactly what the Dell Orchestration Engine was designed to do. Built from our data loop acquisition and in close partnership with NVIDIA, it can handle structured, unstructured, multimodal data, turning raw enterprise content into rich, curated, and governed data sets ready for training and inferencing. This orchestration engine comes with a built-in marketplace with over 200 applications, models, and data pipelines, including NVIDIA NIMs, as well as no-code pipelines for RAG, active learning, and fine-tuning. You can go from an NVIDIA blueprint to production deployment without writing a single line of code. And powering all of this are the Dell Data Engines, designed to transform and query data and to do so at great scale. With NVIDIA CUDA-X libraries natively integrated, customers are seeing 12 times faster vector indexing, 6 times faster queries, and 19 times faster time to first token. Let's take a look at this solution in action.
Dell's data orchestration engine transforms raw multimodal data, tables, images, video, documents, and audio into continuous production-ready workflows. Data flows directly from PowerScale, ObjectScale, or any enterprise source, while the data browser provides the instant visibility for filtering, querying, governance, and large-scale management. Clustering and vector representations reveal patterns across massive datasets, helping teams quickly identify gaps, improve quality, and prepare data for AI workflows before processing begins. From there, data is automatically transformed and structured, splitting video into keyframes, transcribing audio, and converting unstructured content into usable formats. Built-in sanitization detects and removes sensitive information, ensuring compliance throughout the workflow. Human-in-the-loop workflows validate and refine the data, delivering the accuracy and control enterprises need most. The result is high-quality, curated, trusted data ready for AI models and applications. Throughout the workplace, teams can connect models, pipelines, and AI apps, including NVIDIA NIM, running on Dell AI Factory and other services, going from an NVIDIA blueprint to a production deployment without writing a single line of infrastructure code, with compute and storage automatically provisioned within your environment. The result: production-ready AI data in one unified system.
How cool is that? So layer number 1, data preparation. Layer number 2, disaggregated inference. Once your data is AI ready and available to agents, speed now comes down to the model's ability to access and query data to generate new tokens. And this is exactly what Lightning, with its container-based and high availability architecture, was designed to do. Lightning is the fastest parallel file system in the world, delivering 150 gigabytes per second of throughput per rack, more than twice that of our nearest competitor. Lightning also provides the context memory extension and storage access needed for disaggregated inference, delivering 20 times the performance of flash-only scale-out alternatives. Coupled tightly with NVIDIA Dynamo, Lightning is capable of bypassing the pre-fill stage of inference to intelligently route KV cache data between GPU memory and storage disks, leveraging RDMA in real time. The infinite storage capacity that Lightning brings to bear enables agents to retain long-term context over extended durations, something that is impossible to do with limited GPU memory. And the third layer is the underlying storage platforms: PowerScale, ObjectScale, and something new. You may have heard about this yesterday. Over 1,500 customers today deploy GPUs on PowerScale. It is NVIDIA certified, SuperPod validated, and supports GPU Direct and RDMA. And when compared against other NVIDIA reference architectures for saturating up to 16,000 GPUs, PowerScale is incredibly differentiated. 80% less rack space, 8x fewer switches, 72% less energy, saving customers $1.5 million along the way. Next, ObjectScale. is the world's most cyber-secure object storage, delivering 40 gigabytes of throughput per node, more than twice that of its nearest competitor. And our unique implementation of S3 over RDMA and GPU Direct shows significant gains versus traditional S3-only implementations. 70% less CPU utilization, 230% more bandwidth, and 80% less latency. And when coupled with advanced features like S3 tables and S3 vectors, ObjectScale is primed for a broad array of data sets for AI training and inferencing. And this new thing was announced yesterday, Exascale, a 4-in-1, a unified rack infrastructure built to support PowerScale, ObjectScale, Lightning, and PowerFlex. Exascale is the only 4-in-1 storage-built platform specifically designed for extreme-scale AI, high-performance compute, and enterprise workloads, delivering 6 terabytes of throughput per second per rack unit. So, whether you choose a software-defined architecture or an appliance architecture, whether you choose file, block, object, or disaggregated inference, Dell has the broadest portfolio of data storage in the industry. Your data is prepared, it's moving at speed, and it's stored at scale. A holistic workflow designed to drive down your token cost. Now that we've built a strong storage foundation, let's talk about security. Agents don't just analyze data, they access systems, they execute, they modify data. Thus, security has to be a prerequisite. It cannot be a secondary concern. And this high level of protection must exist where your data lives, at the edge, in the data center, or in the cloud. Our research shows 94% of ransomware attacks seek to compromise backup workloads. But more alarming is the success rate, 57%. Why such a high success rate, you ask? The reason is that the vast majority of backup workloads today land on generic infrastructure. This is a huge problem. Number one, it's a horrible TCO. But more importantly, the software and hardware are not jointly integrated and hardened. Rather, security controls are layered in after the fact instead of being engineered in from the beginning. Security must start very early from the supply chain and extend into jointly integrated and hardened software. Backup workloads must land on purpose-built systems like PowerProtect Data Domain, systems that are specifically engineered for security, for performance, for recovery under attack. This means customers get factory-to-site verification, silicon root of trust, zero trust controls, end-to-end encryption, and built-in immutability. These are table stakes in a purpose-built appliance. Equally important is the software stack and the ability to securely and effectively manage a complex environment across an entire estate. And this brings me to another announcement, PowerProtect One, Cyber Resilience Simplified. PowerProtect One is a unified integrated architecture that brings PowerProtect Data Manager and PowerProtect Data Domain together. PowerProtect Data Domain, of course, the world's leading target appliance, rated #1 in customer satisfaction and supporting 650 exabytes of data across more than 15,000 customers around the world. PowerProtect One will enable you to scale components independently to improve security and drive down operational cost. With PowerProtect One, customers should expect 0 to first backup in a quarter of a time that it takes with a non-integrated appliance, 50% less daily management overhead, 75-to-1 data reduction, enabling 150 petabytes of logical capacity per node, 2 times faster restore time, and 2 times faster replication. This is cyber resilience for the AI era. Now that we've built a strong data foundation and we've secured it, let's talk about modernizing your infrastructure and freeing up critical resources with the Dell Private Cloud. As customers think about building a modern private cloud, they typically think about three things. Number one, they think about flexibility, because we're living in a multi-hypervisor world, spanning virtual machines, containers, and bare metal. Number two, they think about simplifying IT operations and significant advancements in automation and application orchestration. And number three, they simply want to know that their architecture is future-proofed and cost-effective. And with the Dell Private Cloud, they get all three. And the savings are significant, upwards of 65% TCO when compared against legacy hyper-converged infrastructure. And today, we are expanding our offers across a broad ecosystem of partners, including the latest software from VMware and Red Hat, as well as PowerStore support for Nutanix and Microsoft Azure Local. We are giving customers real choice and automation-driven simplicity. And of course, at the center of any private cloud is storage. And today, we're incredibly excited to announce PowerStore Elite, a new class of modern data platform. This is, well, hold on, I haven't gotten through the specs yet. This is a new class of modern data platform, a full third-generation refresh of hardware and software. We've added more powerful CPUs, we've added faster memory, and significant enhancements to our software stack. And the results, amazing. PowerStore Elite delivers 1.5 million IOPS, which is 3 times that of the previous generation. It delivers 80 gigabytes of throughput per node, more than 4 times the previous generation. We've improved the world's leading data reduction guarantee from 5-to-1 to 6-to-1, tripling the density generation over generation, enabling 6 petabytes in a compact 3U form factor. And we've extended PowerStore's scale-out capabilities to include transactional file, enabling customers to consolidate even more workloads. Let me be clear on this. PowerStore Elite is the gold standard. No competitor in our industry can deliver this level of density, performance, and functionality in a single product. And now it's good. And it's not just about the capabilities that we deliver today. PowerStore's container-based architecture means that everything is modular and upgradable, which means that it will evolve as workloads evolve and adapt as new technologies emerge. PowerStore Elite is the definition of future-proofed. Now, and every single Dell private cloud is managed through the Dell Automation Platform. And today, we are extending it with AIOps-driven intelligence and an agentic layer, enabling customers to proactively observe, manage, and optimize their infrastructure. Let's take a look at the solution.
Welcome to the future of intelligent operations. Instead of a static dashboard, you're greeted by a generative UI where our agent has laid out a scenario. A critical workload is likely to breach its performance SLA in a few days if nothing changes. To see how it reached that conclusion, you can ask the agent through chat to explain its plan. Normally, teams spend weeks troubleshooting in siloed tools after a problem occurs. Here, an agent correlates signals across compute, storage, and network to determine root cause in seconds. It has identified a bottleneck, proposed a fix, and validated that fix in a digital twin so you know it's safe to run, but you still retain full control. Directly through chat, you tell the agent when and where to run the automation. It opens a change request in ServiceNow, waits for approval, and then executes the workflow. Nodes are right-sized, workloads are rebalanced, capacity is adjusted, and validation runs automatically. As the automation completes, the nodes that were red shift back to green, and that critical workload stays safely inside policy. This is the power of Dell Automation Platform.
So freaking cool. The London Stock Exchange, now known as LSEG, chose Dell to build a new, secure, modern private cloud, integrating our servers, our storage, and our automation platform. And LSEG, using this solution, can now deliver capabilities related to data services and trading operations faster than ever before. Now, let me bring it all home with the Dell AI Factory. We launched the Dell AI Factory 2 years ago with a very simple premise: a full-stack, modular, validated architecture, the compute, the network, the storage, the data management, the software, the ecosystem, the services, designed, delivered, and serviced as a single product, built to support workloads at the edge, in your data center, and in the cloud. And the adoption speaks for itself. Over 5,000 customers have deployed a Dell AI Factory. In the last year alone, you've seen 160 plus product releases. And perhaps most importantly, customers are seeing first-year ROI of 269%. The model is working. It's working exceptionally well. And today, I want to introduce you to the next generation of infrastructure that will power the Dell AI Factory, starting with compute. And let me begin with the workhorse of the portfolio, the recently signed XE9812, built on NVIDIA's Vera Rubin NVL72 platform. This absolute beast of a platform delivers 10 times cost per token reduction, gen over generation, and 260 terabytes of GPU to GPU throughput, which is more bandwidth than the entire internet. The new lineup also includes 3 new liquid-cooled PowerEdge servers built on NVIDIA's HGX NVL8, supporting up to 144 GPUs in a single rack and delivering 5.5x the performance of B200 GPUs. And as we've said all along, AI requires a heterogeneous mix of accelerated and general purpose compute. And this week we are announcing the broadest refresh in PowerEdge history with our 18th generation portfolio, including a new series of ultra performant servers supporting CPUs from NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel, built for high core count density and memory bandwidth to support everything from databases and virtualization to AI workloads. The entire portfolio, one common platform of management. The entire portfolio, post-quantum cryptography compliant, day one. Now, compute alone will not solve. You need a high-speed network. The most powerful GPUs in the world require a communications superhighway. And agentic technology will tax the network like never before. Agents exchanging context, scheduling, making decisions in real time. Your network must be lawless, adaptive, and fast, or GPUs will stall. And a stalled GPU is an incredibly expensive proposition. To build this communication superhighway, we are expanding the PowerSwitch portfolio to include NVIDIA Spectrum 6 and Broadcom Tomahawk 6 Ethernet technology, enabling 409.6 terabit per second of switch capacity with co-packaged optics, which will enable 5x more power efficiency, 10x more reliability, and 5x more uptime in AI workloads. We are also introducing NVIDIA Quantum X800 InfiniBand solution, liquid-cooled, co-packaged optics, enabling 10,800 gigabit per second host connections and a 9x boost in performance. But network hardware alone is not enough. Your network operating system must be purpose-built for AI. It must be high bandwidth and low latency. 20 years ago, Linux became the standard operating system for servers. It was open, multi-vendor, and a global community continued to improve it. The same thing is happening today. Sonic is to networking as Linux was to servers. And we have enabled the entire PowerSwitch portfolio. We have enabled Sonic across the entire PowerSwitch portfolio, giving customers access to the same high-performance fabrics that hyperscalers use, with enterprise-class support and lifecycle management. And now that we've talked about a lot of the individual components, it's important to not lose sight of the fact that the complexity in bringing all of this together is immense. And we make it simple for customers. We design and validate the full stack, the compute, the network, and the storage as one system. The rack is now the product. And this engineering and design philosophy, coupled with the expertise and capabilities of our services organizations, means that we can deploy rack-scale infrastructure in under 6.5 hours and maintain uptime of 99.9%. And the market has taken notice. IDC ranked Dell #1 in rack shipments last year, shipping more than 2.2 times the number of racks of our nearest competitors. The Dell AI Factory is the proven path from AI investment to business outcome, and the model is working. Hudson River Trading trades millions of shares a day across 200+ financial markets, deployed their AI research platform on a Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA. PowerScale as the underlying data foundation, coupled with liquid-cooled PowerEdge GPUs. The results, HRT's AI research now keeps pace with the markets in which they serve. SanDisk is another great example. They went all in, building an advanced AI and generative AI platform on a Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA, and the results were simply amazing. Factory costs were down 32%, energy costs were down 46%, CO2 emissions were down 45%, defect rates were down from 800 parts per million to 100 parts per million, and factory operation, Lights Out factory operations was up to 95%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what good looks like. In closing, Jeff gave 5 imperatives. #1, build a strong data foundation. We've built it. #2, distributed AI, training and inferencing at the edge, the core, the cloud. We've built it. #3, secure autonomous systems. We've built it. #4, a full stack solution. We've built it. #5, a full stack solution ready for an agentic world. We've built that too. The agentic enterprise is no longer a vision. It is being built right now, and Dell is leading the way. Thank you for your time this morning, and boss, back to you.
Show me the socks. I hear the socks are a hit.
I wanted to have Jeff with me the whole time, so.
That's a hell of a look. Arthur Lewis, everybody. So, home stretch. I'm going to get us home quickly here. 3 years ago, we found ourselves with thousands of shadow AI projects running inside Dell. People across the company experimenting on their own with whatever tools they could find. It wasn't a failure of governance. It was actually a signal of demand. So we got disciplined. We identified 5 use cases with real outcomes. We created an AI office to kind of gather it all together. We went to 90-day sprints that turned into 60-day sprints that turned into 30-day sprints. My challenge to the team is now 3 days, heading towards 3 hours. Today, our service assistant is alive across our global services organization. It's actively closing cases. It's reducing dispatch rates. It's lifting customer satisfaction. All deployed on-prem, all on Dell infrastructure, all in an existing data center. No additional power, no additional cooling. The ROI was in less than 3 months. In our current infrastructure, deployed at scale agents, ROI in less than 3 months. And every observation I shared with you today showed up in our own data. We blew past every forecast we had for token consumption. We pivoted and are now running our agent workloads on our own Dell AI Factory because the economics demanded it. We can name our super users, a small group of engineers and operators who became force multipliers and reshaped how we're thinking about AI adoption entirely in the company. And we've restructured how the company runs in real time. We are mapping workflows, and even more important, we are tracing the data paths and the logic that powers our operations, from the supply chain to services to sales to software development, all of it. This is not a pilot. This is how our company is running today. So let me leave you with 3 go-dos. 3 things I really want you to think about as you exit the building, so to speak. 1, go look at your AI cost model. Ask honestly whether you're budgeting for both compute and token consumption. If you can't answer that, you're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation with your CFO in about 6 months. Number 2, go find your super users. Don't count them. Go find out what they do. Study them. Build alongside them. The gap between your super users and everybody else is the gap between your future and your past. And then lastly, decide on whether you're going to lead the operating model change, the disruption, or be organized by it. Both options are in front of you, but only one of them is for yours to choose, I believe. So that's the modern enterprise. It's not a destination. It's a permanent operating model. We're doing the work ourselves. We're working with thousands of customers right now. The opportunity is massive. Let's get to work. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today.